Right. Hopefully you can see share screen.
Yes, it's coming up. Yes, there we are.
Good. So then at least I can remember something that I can talk about. Some of us are getting a little bit on Trevor Kettler, so you've got to be ready to step on board and lead the discussions. So welcome everybody. For those I don't know, I'm the CEO of the Chamber. And this little format, I've got to get to it straight away because I've got to be in New Zealand at 10 o'clock, which is about 45 odd minutes away. So that's the pace that you're talking about, Jasper, that we're networking at. And then I've got to be back into Cape Town at 11 o'clock. And so it goes at 1 o'clock. We meet with your Kingdom Guides mates, Trevor Carty. So that's the pace with which we're working at. What I want to do here is see if I can take you along an article. You'll friend of ours from last year. This is us last year, pre-COVID, with the groups of people coming in every Friday morning, and now we've changed that. So COVID has definitely had an impact. We not only network here in Fourways, Johannesburg, we're now all over the world. So really what I want to do is revisit an article that I first wrote back in about 1994. And I don't think I changed it at all. So what might be interesting is if there's anything that stands out for you, just make a note of it and then bring it up in the discussion as we go. So the article is about how to start and grow your own business. Now, I know that many of the people here don't need to really think about starting and growing your own business, but it's sometimes important to actually get back to basics. And I think this post-COVID environment that's what we all need to do. So this is a reminder for myself. And please, I'm just looking at you on the right-hand side of this panel. Jasper, give me a thumbs up. You're hearing me clearly. Good. Right, so I'm on the go. Now is the time to secure your future and set yourself free without getting into debt and risking everything that you own. This was an original article written by myself in the 1990s. Then it was entitled Spring has Sprung and the Gross has Riz. Now's the time to get into biz. At that time, just to let you know, I had over 8,000 people in my network, many of whom were township new individuals into the economy, out of the township. Madiba had just been voted in as president and people were turning around to say, well, now what do we do? So I actually wrote this article with that, and I termed it an oldie but goodie article with some key points of value. Despite the date of writing, some insights remain ageless, timeless, and priceless. Please extract those gems relevant to today's times. And that's what I'd like to hear, what it is that you extract as being relevant to today, and then perhaps we can discuss them and tweak prior to 5 to 10 when I've got to head off to New Zealand, as I say. There is just something so invigorating about the signs of spring. It is no longer that difficult to force oneself out from under those warm winter blankets to get dressed in the dark so as not to disturb your spouse. Right now, you can see I'm in the midst of summer at the moment, and that's how quickly things have come in from being cold a couple of weeks ago to being into spring, and now we're at the beginning of summer. Even the early bird seems to be intent on waking you up with its constant chattering so that you can fully appreciate the early morning sunrise. So Trevor Kettler, if you would take your hardy-dars back, I would certainly appreciate that. Now is the time that most people start to think about changing their lives. And I think just related to that, COVID has forced people to start thinking about, hey, what do I do now? Do I go back to the way it was, or do I start working with a hybrid of where I was there and where I want to go in the future? We're all thinking about this, how we reposition in ourselves, making a fresh start, maybe even a change of job. In my decade of experience of placing people into business, this is the time of year that most business startup and franchise applications generally start to flow in. Now, it's quite interesting. I'm now into my 5th decade of doing that, so it shows you time marches on. In a new business creation project launched as a new division of one of my companies in summer, I noticed that while it was warm and sunny, we had the greatest attendance at our introduction and training meetings. As it got colder, people's enthusiasm for new concepts cooled off as well. However, as the days have begun to brighten up again, we are back to almost full houses at our induction training meetings. Our meetings serve as a fantastic dipstick survey of the current feelings of most South Africans. Generally, the people who attend our presentations are extremely concerned about the massive levels of unemployment in our country. When did I write this? They point to a general atmosphere of despondency and depression hanging over their communities. Many refer to the high number of businesses going into liquidation or retrenching each month, leaving countless thousands of unemployed in their wake. This could be quite depressing news if you're one of those who happen to lose their jobs and you happen to have no plan for the future. The people whom I've had the pleasure of meeting at these presentations all readily admit that the most important reason for their attendance is to find out how to make some extra money. In fact, it is safe to say that most people in South Africa are seriously interested in finding genuine opportunities to generate extra income. Yet, the vast majority of South Africans seeking new opportunities have little or no capital behind them to invest into a quality business, which is a fact that the vast majority of well-meaning politicians, academics, and media commentators seem to miss. They mistakenly believe that the funding granted by then the SBDC, still around somewhere, financial institutions and similar bodies will be the launch pad for a major small business explosion. Am I hearing something similar again, 4 odd decades later? But these institutions have been around for decades and no explosion has yet taken place. In fact, it has been nothing more than a pitiful whimper. Why? Because quite simply, these institutions are only interested in funding those who already have capital or assets available. And it hasn't changed. I get highly irritated when I hear these security-minded advisors suggesting from their cushy corporate salaried posts that entrepreneurs should be willing to risk everything in their new venture. I read recently an article by a major bank marketing manager who advised that you've got to be so committed to success that you will give priority to the business, priority over your family, sporting activities, and social life. This is the same type of perverse advice that will have you hocking your house and home to get finance to put into your business. In other words, they are happy to get you into debt to themselves. Okay, that's the big scam here. And when you hit hard times, as you will, because well over 90% of all businesses are estimated to fail in the first 5 years. And then I must tell you, the remainder, over 90% of them, will fail in the next 5 years. So only 1% of business entrepreneurs who get into business now will be around in the next 10 years. And that's where I talk of how do you get into the top 1%. These people are the first to relieve you of your hard-earned assets that you signed over as collateral. And not one of them will have lost their jobs. So my view is, be wary of any advisor who has never faced the realities of a rapidly changing marketplace, who has never personally risked everything to start something, who has never operated a business, let alone made much money in their own entrepreneurial endeavor. How can they ever teach you what it takes to be successful in business? Now, let me tell you what it takes. It takes good old-fashioned common sense and uncommon passion to achieve your dreams. For instance, in my experience, there are really only 2 major reasons why people go into business: because they want to or because they have to. Okay, when there are no jobs around, what do? I better become an entrepreneur. In both instances, it is essential to take into account the needs of your immediate family, especially if you are the recognized breadwinner. Nothing is more destructive to the spirit of an own business entrepreneur than being faced with the added pressure of providing basic essentials for your family. Many entrepreneurs go into business without considering that it takes a fair amount of time to build up a good income in any business. And every entrepreneur I've ever met has always tended to be highly over-optimistic about the income generating potential of their product or service. That's just our nature as human beings. So my first word of advice is to make certain that you have enough capital in personal savings behind you, or to find a part-time job of some description to make certain that you can feed, house, and clothe your family while you are building your business. The objective of getting into business is to improve your current station in life, not to live in poverty and debt to the point of destitution, because some ivory tower executive out there says you must risk everything to succeed. I believe these advisors misinterpret the experience they gain from reading books by self-made entrepreneurs who have made it in life from the depth of poverty and debt. These great books are merely demonstrating that you can achieve success from any circumstance in life. Not that you should give up everything to the point of destitution before you can begin to succeed. That's stupidity. So, put your family's basic needs first, which highlights the fantastic opportunity available to our young adult generation who are still fortunate enough to be living at home with little responsibility for supporting a family. Surely the young entrepreneurial adult between 18 to 24 years of age, and let me tell you that's risen because I've now got them at 36 years of age, has the greatest opportunity to test their skills in business by risking everything. Give them an opportunity to have a roof over their heads and go out there and conquer the world. And maybe you take 50% of their action. Let's talk risk. What is it that you have to risk when you go into business? Well, I believe that it has to do with three simple elements: time, money, and effort. And perhaps the least important of these is money. I'm constantly amazed at how many people think that they can succeed in business merely by throwing money at it. Money only becomes important for the size of the business opportunity it allows you to access, and for reducing the initial pressure to generate income for basic living expenses. Money can purchase a going concern that is already generating regular income, but it will not guarantee that the income will continue. Every business will succeed or fail as a result of the quality of time and effort you put into it. If you have little money, can you access a good income generating ideas and get into business? Categorically, yes. In fact, for the past 15 years, remember I wrote this in the early 90s, that's all I've been doing in my own businesses. Let me give you an idea of something of my more recent business projects that have been developed from nothing but an idea. In 1990, I recognized the need to protect investors' funds in a financial market that was extremely volatile and uncertain, with investors sick to death of rampant financial fraud. When was this? Sounds current. I set about to achieve the impossible and launch an investment fund that could trade in high-risk instruments and protect the original investment from the risk of loss. I was told it couldn't be done, but I spent 12 months researching financial products from around the world and studying our local financial system to develop the protected investment fund. In just under 2 years, this fund traded well over 2.1 billion in total transaction value. What did I invest? Time and effort. Recently, I set out to develop a business that would give South Africans an affordable opportunity to develop their own wealth generating business on a part-time basis without putting their families and jobs at risk. The background research to the business involved a total of 18 months research and 6 months intense strategy and planning. The point of the business is to demonstrate that it is relatively simple to start a business from nothing if you put your mind to it. In just over 50 odd weeks, we have placed over 900 people in business. By the end of that, I had over 8,000 odd people in business, making this one of the fastest growing businesses in South Africa. During this period, I have participated in launching an exciting community radio station that gives me privileged access to almost R1 million worth of broadcast facilities. That's in the early 90s. I've also secured a 50% internet marketing partnership with a dynamic company that has invested 4 million Rand into quality computer technology. What did it cost me to get access to almost 5 million Rands worth of equipment? Nothing, but time and effort to get myself ready for the opportunity. And by the way, that's what I'm doing at 10 o'clock. I'm again getting into millions of New Zealand currency resources. So you'll hear more about that next week. So in my opinion, anybody can get into business, but what does it take to make that business successful? Well, here's my one simple secret to business success that will put you on the right road. Find out what people want or need and give it to them at an excellent price. Okay, and you'll see that's the major hook around my confessions of a serial entrepreneur. I don't think this has changed. Find out what people want to need and give it to them at an excellent price. And then you've got to find a way to distribute that or get people to see what it is that you're doing. And you're well on your way to success. You see, most people go into business on a whim and a fancy. They say things like, gee, it would be great to be my own boss and do what I want to do for a change. I'm going to open up a business like everyone else. But they do almost zero in-depth background research to check whether there is a market for their product or service. That is, what others, the customers, want the business to do for them. One of the classic quotes in business that I will always remember is this: you can have the greatest product or service in the world and still starve. Meaning that it doesn't matter how clever you think you are. If people don't recognize their need for your product, you're in trouble. For me, the minimum basic essential for success in a business is the way that it is scripted beforehand. Much like a movie director can tell you whether a movie will succeed at the box office by reading the script, I can tell whether business entrepreneurs will be successful from the quality of their business script. How many business scripts do I see produced by budding new entrepreneurs? Hardly any, which is why I suspect the vast majority of new businesses fail. What does a business script look like and what does it contain? Essentially, it is a document that can be used to train your future sales staff into understanding your business as well as you do. It is probably a minimum of 40 to 50 typed A4 pages of copy explaining the core value system or philosophy of the business, which is obviously your value system. It will cover your background market research and market needs analysis, incorporating an in-depth analysis of at least 7 Ps, your people, your potential customers, staff, suppliers, and community you will affect, your product, its features and benefits, your style of promotion and place of operation or distribution, how your customer is going to learn about and get access to your product, your plan of action, strategies for conservative growth, your profit plan, cash flow projections, and financial forecasts. Now, anyone who knows me will turn around and say, hey, I don't want to see all of that nonsense. I just want to see your summary of that. I want to know that you've done that in the background yourself, and that begins the book behind your business. Okay, I want to see a half-page summary of how you're going to get to the end picture. The business script will lead to a clear description of your business mission statement, which will identify what your business seeks to achieve for its publics, everyone who comes into contact with the business, otherwise known as your stakeholders as well. In my own business scripts, I have always sought to ensure that my product or service conveys the message that my client has everything to gain and nothing to lose. I can always judge how much thinking an entrepreneur has put into their business just by looking out for this feature. And again, I hardly ever find it. Probably because too many South African business people are thinking more about themselves getting rich than their customers benefiting from their product or service. But will this business script guarantee you success in your business? Not at all. It has to be mixed with an entrepreneurial attitude, an attitude that recognizes that life is tough and that problems are bound to arise every day, that it takes extreme patience and persistence to grow a business and follow the business script. The entrepreneur must be in a position to be able to hang in longer than even they expect. Most people who start their businesses under financial pressure and in debt begin to panic at this most critical stage of the business. Only those who can relax at this point actually succeed in business. That's why so few succeed. But what if you don't have the time or the expertise to develop your product or business? Well, Maybe you can do what I first did to become a business entrepreneur. Look for someone else who has already developed a great product and who's now looking for people to help sell the product. I don't understand why people want to actually develop their own business, develop everything, when there are people who have spent fortunes and the one thing they can't do is sell what they've developed. Just go and help them sell it. Almost everybody is aware that selling is the highest paid profession in the world. In fact, it is the most affordable entry-level business in the world. It doesn't cost you a cent to enter the profession of selling. It is also the highest paid hard work and lowest paid easy work in the world. Think about that. I like selling because you earn income in direct proportion to your skills, effort, and input. Now, at this point, I can almost feel some budding entrepreneurs cringing at the thought of having to sell something. Well, here's my warning. If you are not going to make a study of the art and science of selling, then don't even think about getting into your own business. At the end of the day, every business succeeds or fails on the sales of its products or services to its consumer base. Finally, let me share one of the strangest phenomena I've come across when putting people into business. Almost without exception, I present an extremely conservative and cautious view of what to expect from operating your own business. In fact, I can almost be accused of trying to keep people out of getting into business with my own business concepts. Yet, despite my warnings about the level of time and effort required to be successful, most people I present to are adamant that they want to get started with us. They go through all the training. We do it absolutely free of charge. They make a serious commitment to themselves and ourselves. They confirm to everyone around them that they really want to get wealthy with us. We make it very simple for them to succeed with our plans. And then they even make an investment to get started in their own business with us supporting them, and they do nothing. Which leads me to the simplest key to being successful in business. Just get started. Most people never succeed because they never try. Just do it.